Hello, good evening and welcome to Biz1st Review 360, your weekly roundup of the top business news and developments impacting the Sri Lankan economy. This week, political turmoil has gripped the country, affecting the highest echelons of power in Sri Lanka following the shock performance of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, a party just over a year old, which appears to have broken the hegemony of the two major political parties in the country. We have more details coming up. First, a look at our top stories.
The central bank kept policy rates unchanged as the economy was stabilizing and showing signs of recovery from extreme weather that hampered agri-based production in 2017.
Right. So if you look at all the indicators, there were grounds for cautious satisfaction that the economy was stabilizing quite nicely.
The Monetary Board kept the standing deposit facility rate at 7.25% and the standing lending facility rate at 8.75%, despite expectations that rates will be eased to spur growth. Sri Lanka's economy grew 3.3% in the third quarter of 2017, a decline from growth of 4% in the second quarter of 2017. The Monetary Board noted that the economy is currently operating at a level below its potential, but expressed confidence in the economy stabilizing and gathering momentum.
As growth has disappointed, there are signs that in the forward-looking indicators, if you look at the business outlook surveys, they were negative, that is reading of below 100 throughout 2017. But the first quarter of 2018, the outlook surveys indicate a positive reading, that is above 100. And if you look at sales, if you look at investment, if you look at demand, anticipated demand, all those have now gone into positive territory, which is encouraging in terms of performance of the business sector going forward. Now, of course, so the economy is stabilizing. There was positivity reflected in the business outlook, which seems to indicate that growth could pick up. Now, for all that to continue and materialize to an even better outcome, the country needs political stability.
The central bank expects 5% to 5.5% economic growth this year, and the decision to keep rates steady comes in the wake of political uncertainty following the shock defeat suffered by the ruling coalition government. Dr. Indrajit Kumaraswamy said political uncertainty could impact sentiment, which could lead to a reduction in investment and growth.
If there is an impact on sentiment which leads to a reduction in investment and growth, clearly then one would need to think of whether one needs to support growth through looser monetary policy. But again, at the same time, you need to look at what happens to fiscal policy. If the political situation leads to a loosening of fiscal policy, then clearly the central bank would have to lean against that and tighten monetary policy. So it's too early to tell really how things will turn out. In an ideal world, there should be stability quickly and then we move on.
The central bank said it's working on an action plan to get Sri Lanka out of the grey list for ineffective financial policing. The Financial Action Task Force placed Sri Lanka under monitoring status or a grey list last year, saying there were strategic deficiencies to combat money laundering and terrorism financing. The governor of the central bank said he hopes to get Sri Lanka out of the woods by October.
The Financial Action Task Force, which is the global standard setter in the money laundering and countering of terrorism financing area, has put us on a grey list. And we have worked with them, particularly the regional body, the Asia Pacific group, to develop an action plan for us to get out of that grey list. The delay in compliance, this is complex in the sense that there are several government ministries and departments which are involved. The Ministry of Justice, Foreign Affairs, Legal Draftsman, Attorney General, Registrar of Companies, So there are several agencies. We all have to work together to deliver. Now, I think we can't get away from the fact that we should have done better. That I'm not saying, we shouldn't have got into this situation. But now we have got an action plan and we are working in a very concerted way to put it right. I should also say that even at the meeting where we were put on the grey list, the Asia Pacific group, which is our regional body, supported us. They wanted to give us more time, and a number of regional countries and other countries did support us, but one or two major countries felt, but there are very sensitive things, like certain sanctions and all. If you are not up to speed on it, you can get get penalized for it. So I think bottom line is we are now working flat out, as the Deputy Governor said, to put this right. Grey list, you are basically put on notice. So there isn't, at present, we have not seen any direct impact. But if you then slip down to the blacklist, then it has dramatic repercussions. For instance, banks can lose our banks will lose their correspondent relationships, and generally people will be very reluctant to deal with our financial services sector. So the blacklist really becomes a problem. Right now, it's an amber light that's flashing, and we need to get out of this list very quickly.
Pan Asia Banking Corporation will not be able to carry out business and activities as a primary dealer. This regulatory action restricts PABC's access to the primary auctions for government securities. PABC was first given a suspension by the Monetary Board on the 15th of August based on the findings of an investigation carried out by the central bank related to PABC's transactions with Perpetual Treasuries Limited in the government securities market. The Monetary Board today said the suspension was extended in order to continue the investigations being conducted by the Central Bank of Sri Lanka. However, the central bank stressed it does not affect any of the other activities or services of PABC.
On the other side of this commercial break, we'll be joined by two Iranian academics who will be giving us their view on Iran's role in the Indian Ocean in the 21st century. Welcome back to Biz1st Review 360. Iran's role in the Indian Ocean is a highly contentious topic. Newsfirst Sonali Wanigabaduge sat down with Iranian academics who are in the country this week to discuss the future of Iran's relations with Indian Ocean countries.
Thank you, Nadeem. Here in the studio with Dr. Faraj Erod. He is the Director General of Strategic Council on Foreign Relations of the Islamic Republic of Iran. He's also, interestingly, one of the former ambassadors to Sri Lanka during the time of President J.R. Jayawardena, President Ranasinghe Premadasa, and during the time of Mrs. Sirimavo Bandaranaike. Hello and welcome to you, Doctor.
Hello, thank you. And thank you for inviting me to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you with us here in our studios at Newsfirst. You are also an academic and you have decades of experience as a political analyst as well. So let's start with some of the major issues here. Now, over the recent past, we've seen a lot of South Asian dominance, where the economic prowess has shifted from the west to the east. If you take Sri Lanka, Sri Lanka is also strategically located close to, in close proximity to the shipping lanes. So how is Iran then going to position itself in order to make the best of this situation?
Yes, you know, both countries, Iran and Sri Lanka, geopolitically are in a very good position in Indian Ocean. Sri Lanka is in heart of Indian Ocean. Iran is in 4C, in the head of Indian Ocean. Therefore, we can say that these two countries are looking each other, one from the center of Indian Ocean, one from north of Indian Ocean. If we draw a line from the Sea of Oman coming here, we reach to Sri Lanka. Therefore, I think we if we come back to the ancient time, we see there was a relation between Sri Lanka. This relation is not interrupted. Up to now, I think Iran and Sri Lanka continued this kind of relation. In this new situation, which you mentioned, the economy development is shifting to the South Asia and Southeast Asia. It is the best situation that both countries benefit from this situation.
Doctor, after Iran signed the nuclear deal, there's been a great deal of expectation that the life and economy of the Iranian people will become better. However, over the recent past, we've seen protests taking place with over 20 people being killed. So my question to you is, when Iran is facing such domestic turmoil, domestic issues, should it really be expending its resources on foreign issues?
Iran had a deal with 5+1. Definitely the economy of the country has become better after signing this deal. The investment has come to the country. We are exporting our oil, the money is coming inside the country. Yes, at the same time, we had some demonstration. You know, Iran is a democracy. Maybe one of the rare democracy in Middle East. Every year we have election. You see, or you hear, or you watch demonstration everywhere. Yes, some of the people are unsatisfied with the engagement, with their own work, with the economy. Yes, they have right to demonstrate. You have demonstration in Sri Lanka, you have demonstration in Pakistan, in India, in Germany, in France, and so on. We had also some demonstration. People come to the city center and have demonstration. It is natural. But the demonstration of Iran had a lot of propaganda because the West, because of America, because of Mr. Trump, they try to escalate what is happening in Iran. But it was not surprising things. The government is working hard to solve the problem of economy of the people. And no one out of these 80 million people in Iran is not hungry, is hungry. Therefore, yes, we have some problem in economy. It takes time, but the people have also this right to demonstrate like other countries.
Doctor, it is reported that the Iranian government spends quite a bit on supporting Syria's Assad regime. Don't you think that Iran's foreign policy and positioning needs to be restructured in order that it better protects the people of Iran itself?
Any better life or economy first needs security. When demonstrated in Syria, in Damascus, or some other cities started, the Americans announced that the first goal is Iran, not Assad regime. You know? They wanted to hit us through Syria. From Syria, they wanted to hit Iraq, which is close to us, and then come to the border of Iran. They wanted to topple Assad regime, as you mentioned. Therefore, we are obliged to support the government of Syria. From the first months of demonstration, we received some information that the weapons is distributed among the people in Syria. The demonstration in Syria was different from demonstration in Tunisia or Egypt and some other countries. And you know, in a short time, they distribute weapons among some hardline people, and very fast, different terrorist group established, like Al-Qaeda, Al-Nusra, like Jaish al-Islam, like Daesh. You know, Daesh wanted to take all the land of Syria. Daesh wanted to take Baghdad, the capital of Iraq. And they reached to the border of Iran, 40 kilometers to border of Iran. From there, they wanted to come inside Iran. A very terrible terrorist group. And unfortunately, some of the countries in the region were supporting them, giving them weapons, giving them money, train them, and so on. What we could do in that situation? Therefore, the government of Iraq, the government of Syria formally invited us, and we went to support them. We are very happy that we defeated Daesh.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you for that clarification. Now, let's discuss the mutual cooperation deal on trade and economy signed between our two countries, Sri Lanka and Iran. How do you propose to make this work? Tell us what it entails.
You know, every time we had good relation with Sri Lanka, it is a historical relation. And we do not have any negative point, negative impact in our relation. Sri Lanka is a good buyer of oil from Iran. Iran is a good buyer of tea. And both countries, in any government, try to improve and increase the level of the relation, especially economical relation. But we should work more. You know, there are many capacities in both countries for promoting the relation. During last few years, because of the sanctions imposed on us, the level of import of tea and the level of import of oil from both countries have come down, but both countries should work with each other to promote, to increase the level of exchange of goods. But we should find the new roads of promoting the relation. One of the aspects of the better relation is promoting the tourism. You know, last year, 9 million Iranians went out of the country as tourists. Why we cannot bring some of them to Sri Lanka? Sri Lanka is attractive, very attractive for the Iranian people, because they like to be in a country with good weather, green country, green land, and also the situation here observe Iranian people. We should work on it, and if the people of both countries know each aspect, we can work better.
Doctor, since you've been in Sri Lanka as an ambassador for several years, you also understand the pulse of the Sri Lankan people.
Yes. Yes.
So, I mean, going forward, what are the areas of cooperation that we can look at, given the fact that Sri Lanka is also now moving into a sort of post-developmental era,
Yes.
with a major boom in tourism? So we can't just keep to our old exports of tea, rubber, coconut. and we need to keep moving
Yes,
forward in our
yes.
relationship as well. So
You
what are
know-
some of the areas that you can suggest?
Iran, geographical position of Iran is very nice. Iran has 15 neighbors in north, south, east, and west. Many of these neighbors are landlocked neighbors. Mostly Iran is connected to the ocean, is connected to free sea. You know, we are building, establishing a corridor from south to the north. I think Sri Lanka can take Iran as a hub for distributing its goods like tea, rubber, and other things which Sri Lanka have in Iran, and from Iran distribute to the other countries, to Russia, to Central Asia, to Caucasus, to Afghanistan, to Iraq, to Turkey, and so on. Second, you know, Iran is progress in industrial section. For example, we are producing cars, automobiles. We are establishing some factories in other countries like Iraq, like Syria, like Venezuela, like Belarus, and so on. We can also establish some and investment some factories, or at least one factory in first step in Sri Lanka to produce cars, to produce buses. Therefore, you will have more workers, and also you have Iranian investment, and so on. Second, is it necessary? I repeat, we should work on tourism. Tourism helps the people of both countries know each other. You know, unfortunately, I can say that the people of Iran, new generation, do not know Sri Lanka. Even in Sri Lanka, the new generation do not know Iran. The people should be exchanged between two countries. The tourist section is one of the part that can do that. These are the things which we can do.
Okay. Doctor, let's also talk about the West, where there's a lot of xenophobic sentiment, there's a lot of hate speech, a lot of racism that is now spreading across the world. And it's quite shocking, really. What's your take on it, and how does Iran deal with this sort of Islamophobia that's fast spreading across the world?
Iran is not working on Islamophobia. You know, this is the propaganda which American and Israeli are doing against us. Not only we do not want to topple any government in the region, we have proved that we want stability, security in the region. As I mentioned before, Iraq, Lebanon, Syria is good examples of Iran that wants the countries in the region be stable. You know, we do not want any country, any government in the region to be toppled. We are working with the countries in the region to be secure. You know, we are helping them. We are spending money, because if they will be secure, Iran will be also secure. Therefore, the majority of people, the majority of governments in the world do not accept what Americans are propagating against Iran. Yes, we want to be independent. America is telling, because of our independency, they want we have the former relation which at the time of Shah Iran had with America, but according to constitution, according to our revolution, Iranian wants to be independent. They want to themselves decide about destiny.
Dr. Erod, let's also talk a bit about Iran's interest in Sri Lanka's oil markets. What's your take on that?
You know, Iran is one of the main producer of oil and gas in the world, and also we are producing 3 million barrels of oil and we export most of it. Sri Lanka is a historical and traditional consumer of Iranian oil because refinery of Sri Lanka works according to Iranian oil, or it works better with Iranian oil. We would like to have this traditional relation. We would like to export our oil to Sri Lanka. Sometimes also during my era in Sri Lanka, give some discount to the government of Sri Lanka. Maybe our government also do that in this situation. Therefore, I think Iran would like to have this traditional economical relation, exporting of oil. Whatever Sri Lanka purchase oil from Iran, definitely the amount of purchasing of tea will be more.
All right, fantastic. Dr. Faraj Erod, former ambassador to Sri Lanka, Director General of Strategic Council on Foreign Relations of the Islamic Republic of Iran. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And it's back to Naveem.
Stay tuned. On the other side, we have the views expressed by the Governor of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, Dr. Indrajit Kumaraswamy, during the first monetary policy review for the year. Welcome back to Biz1st Review 360. Up next, we have the views expressed this week by Central Bank Governor Dr. Indrajit Kumaraswamy following the first monetary policy review for 2018.
I mean, agriculture clearly is a major factor. I think for the first 9 months, agriculture, there was negative growth of 3.2%. And I think it's going to end the year about -1%. Yeah, because there's a bit of a pickup in, pick up in the fourth quarter. Though agriculture is only 7-8% of GDP, it flows through. The reduced activity in the agriculture sector flows through into the other sectors as well. For instance, I think the food and beverages sector is almost about 20% of the industrial sector. So that sector was badly affected by the contraction in agricultural production, and even the services sector, things like transport, etc., get affected when agricultural production is down. So there is a kind of a flow-through effect into the other sectors, because one of the recommendations of the Commission of Inquiry is that we have a forensic audit into the operations of the government securities market, and they also said that we should have a look at the EPF operations in the stock market. So the central bank is in the process of initiating a forensic audit, and we will be enlisting the support of the Auditor General, because that department has the skills in this area. So we worked on a terms of reference for the forensic audits, which we are sharing with the Auditor General. Then we will put out an RFP to all the major accountancy firms in the country, and we will ask them to put together teams which are led by somebody from outside Sri Lanka. So we have an entirely independent forensic audit into these operations that the Commission of Inquiry has asked us to look into. We managed the government public debt, and we are very confident that the numbers are accurate of the government public debt. The central government public debt. Central government public debt. The general government public debt, we don't really get involved in that, And whether that is accurate or not, I mean, the Auditor General, you need to ask him that. The divestiture of non-strategic assets like hotels or commercial real estate, doesn't in any way compromise our sovereignty or our economic sovereignty or our political sovereignty. So in that sense, the program that is in the pipeline is not very ambitious. If you believe that this is the way to go, this is not a very ambitious program. And if it's explained to the people that this money would be very helpful in addressing the debt dynamics that we have to address, and that we are not selling the family silverware to do it, but some peripheral things like hotels, hopefully at least the program that is in the pipeline can be implemented.
And that's a wrap of BizFirst Review 360 for this week. Don't forget to look us up on Facebook. You'll find us at BizFirst Review 360. Of course, that's 1 and 360 in numerals. I'll see you again, same time, same place next week. Until then, good night and good luck.